This is Felt Recoil.
Great group of guys. I shot a gun for the first time with my wife, and it was amazing. Christopher Vermillion is a great guy. He helped me not feel intimidated by it all. And he told me The Walking Dead ain't real, man. He said there's no way that Rick from The Walking Dead can shoot a gun and just hold that python like that. There's no way.
Oh, Brian. Thanks, buddy. That's my good friend, Brian. Known, by the way, to the radio world as B-Love. Thanks for the kind words, old friend. We used to do a night show together on the radio and had a really good time. And I miss that fella. I miss those times. So I know he listens, and I had that old audio of him being silly, and I thought we'd throw it at the beginning. Hello, friend. Thank you for listening to the Felt Recoil podcast. My name is Chris. I'm glad you're here. It's good to be here. There's a lot to get to. It's the day after the 4th of July. Yesterday proved to be a very long and crazy day, not just here in the upstate of South Carolina, but for the world in general. And I could tell you it was July 5th, but then you might not make the connection. It's the day after the 4th of July, which if you're like me, it's a great holiday to celebrate American independence, but it's also become my favorite holiday for the sake of watching the left melt down. And we'll get to all that here in just a second. First, charity of choice this week is a bit redundant, but it's just so apropos with the way the left melted down this week and the things we now know they are openly advocating. It is a platform issue for the left. Hence, we will now make Operation Underground Railroad our charity of choice much more often. The left wants to abolish ICE. Democratic senators are signing on. It's a platform issue for Alexandria Cortez, who's the 28-year-old Latina. She's running her first campaign. She beat a 10-term incumbent in New York's 14th congressional district. It's the most shocking upset, according to CNN, of the political season. She's an activist and member of the Democratic Socialists of America. Her platform is based on the abolishment of Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency, ICE. She wants them gone. And her supporters came out in droves this week to protest ICE as ICE was breaking up a federally investigated sex trafficking ring. Now, these are people who kidnap children and sell them to the highest bidder so that person can rape that child. And I know it's a harsh, very heavy way to start the podcast, but that is why sex trafficking and human trafficking in general should be such a burdensome issue to you and me. We need to take it very, very seriously that this is happening in the United States. U.S. citizens are massive consumers of the sex trade, and we should stop that. We should bring back public hangings to help stop that, in my opinion. This young lady in New York, the avowed socialist, wants to abolish ICE, and her supporters and people who think the way she thinks were literally in the street protesting as ICE broke apart a sex trafficking ring because they don't know how to think for themselves. It's a mob mentality. It is groupthink. It is the height of stupidity. The left seems to have the most concentrated audience of idiots out of anybody. Idiots and hypocrites exist on both sides, but they seem to be most concentrated on the left. Not to digress too much, but if you'll go to OURrescue.org, Operation Underground Railroad is working against the people who would have sex trafficking be the norm. It costs them about $60,000 to execute one mission, and they need your help. Even just sign up and give them $10 a month for all I care. Whatever you can afford to do to help. In fact, you don't have to give them any money. You can sign up and help at events in your community. You can host events. If you like to run, it's free for you to try and organize a 5K and get people to put $5 in a pot and run through the street together, and then you give that money to the organization, and they will go out and they will rescue children. Now, segueing into, and in case you think I'm just being mean, in case it seems too much to believe, here's the whole, just give this 90 seconds of your life. This is the left literally in the streets defending defending sex traffickers. Okay? Listen to these people. Idiots that they are. Just hear them out.
I just heard my roommate like racing upstairs and crying and being like, I don't know what to do. And I came out, and all of our housemates got together, and we came outside, and we saw a bunch of cop cars, a bunch of other cars that are apparently like ICE cars and just so many ICE agents like coming in and entering our neighbor's house.
Cohen said no one was being told what was going on, except ICE agents did confirm with KPIX5 that special agents with ICE and Homeland Security were executing a federal search warrant as part of an ongoing criminal investigation.
It's been really tough because we don't know what's going on in there, and we know that there's a lot of injustices that are happening, and we care for our neighbors and we care for immigration rights, and yeah, no person is illegal.
With the issue of immigration heating up across the nation, emotions are running high in this neighborhood. The Rapid Response Network also arrived. They say they're trying to reach out to the family in this home to provide them information on their rights.
ICE is not welcome in this country. HSI is not welcome. I don't support what they do. I think it's a blasphemy.
We're really calling on the community to say that this is not okay, that we're going to fight back. We're not going to let people just disappear like this.
Again, Oakland Police Department confirming this had to do with a federal criminal search warrant that had to do with human sex trafficking of juveniles. That's really the information that we just received moments ago. Oakland Police's involvement in all of this was traffic control as requested by Homeland Security.
Okay, so there you have it. A bunch of idiots. Just a bunch of absolute horrific, terrible human beings in the streets there who have not a wit amongst them to share. We're going to listen. This is a man named Adley. So that tells you something about the way he was raised. His parents chose the name Adley because, well, hey, that's creative. Adley is outside. Remember, Adley is outside the residence, inside of which people are auctioning off children so the children can be raped. And ICE is there breaking it apart in a coordinated effort with other federal resources and other federal law enforcement agencies, breaking apart the human sex trafficking ring. And what does Adley have to say? The first word he says is ICE. ICE. Listen to this.
ICE is not welcome in this country. HSI is not welcome. I don't support what they do. I think it's a blasphemy.
ICE is not welcome in this country. I don't support what they do. I think of it as a blasphemy. He's outside the home, one more time in case you don't understand what I'm telling you, of people who are auctioning off children to be raped. And his issue is with ICE. ICE is not welcomed in this country. How the left is not openly accused now of aiding and abetting torture of children and the trafficking of human beings, I don't know how you get away with it. And before you think that's a crazy conclusion to draw, here's an article from CNN.com. CNN. This isn't Fox News. This isn't The Blaze. This isn't Breitbart. This is the Clinton News Network, as Rush Limbaugh has labeled it so precisely. This is CNN from July the 3rd, the day before this news broke. More Democrats have joined the growing list of names who want to abolish U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, most commonly known as ICE. Alexandria Cortez, who beat Democratic Representative Joe Crowley of New York in the primary last week, listen to me, listen carefully, ran on a platform of abolishing the agency. And so far, more lawmakers have echoed her call. Here's the list of Democrats who want to abolish ICE, therefore allowing the rape and torture of children to continue in this country. Because if you get rid of the agency that is stopping the brutal torture of children in our country, then for the love of God, who's going to go out and stop those people? Furthermore, real quick side note, so you understand, ICE does not enforce who comes and goes from this country. That is the Border Patrol and Customs, CBP, Customs and Border Patrol. ICE regulates what's happening inside the borders, CBP is overseeing what's happening at the border. So if you're mad about family separation, and if you believe that anyone and everyone should be allowed to come and go as they please, your issue is actually not with ICE. You're just that much more stupid than we would have imagined, because you don't even understand the agency that needs to be abolished in order to get your way. As if, I don't know, protesting Health and Human Services would help get rid of the people that take our money every April. I know we joke about liberalism being a mental disorder, but is there better proof than what I'm telling you now? Senators who think we should abolish ICE and allow sex trafficking to continue across the fruited plain. Kirsten Gillibrand of New York says, quote, "I don't think ICE today is working as intended." There you go. I believe that it has become a deportation force, and I think you should separate the criminal justice from the immigration issues. Okay? Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts, could have seen that one coming, says, quote, "The president's deeply immoral actions have made it obvious that we need to rebuild our immigration system from top to bottom, starting by replacing ICE with something that reflects our values." ICE, remember, the organization that was breaking up a child sex trafficking ring there in Portland, does not reflect the values of Elizabeth Warren. Ergo, Elizabeth Warren's values are okay with trafficking children for sex. There is no other conclusion to draw, because she says, full force, blanket statement, nothing ICE does replicates her values in action. Therefore, what ICE does must be against her values, which means breaking up child sex trafficking rings is against the values that Elizabeth Warren holds. Mark Pocan of Wisconsin, Pramila Jayapal of Washington, Earl Blumenauer of Oregon, Jim McGovern of Massachusetts, and Representative Nydia Velasquez of New York all join in and say ICE has to go. New York Mayor Bill de Blasio, who, by the way, says conservatives should stay out of New York. Was that him, or was that the governor of their state? Who gives a crap? New York sucks. It's a dumpster fire. Don't go there. New York is a terrible, terrible place to spend your time and money, okay? They hate you. If you like anything you hear on this podcast, the people who rule and govern New York, whose pockets are lined every time you vacation there, hate you. Understand that. De Blasio says ICE's time has come and gone. My friend, it's not an exaggeration. It's not an exaggeration that there is a rift in this country, which you see as Antifa takes on the protesters, and you're watching these videos litter up your Facebook and other social media timelines. Hand-to-hand combat is happening in the United States of America between its people because of things like this. The young man who had his Coca-Cola thrown on him in the restaurant by the man who, by the way, somehow has gotten away with using the N-word on the young man, okay? I don't understand how the left is so racist. They're just constantly full of racism and hate for the black community, and yet the black community embraces them in a way I will absolutely never understand. They enslaved you. Literally, the Democrats separated from the Republicans, formed their own country, and fought till they died for the right to enslave black people. And still black people vote for them. I don't understand it. Not all black people, but a vast majority of them do vote Democrat. I will never understand it. I will not understand it. This is the left's mentality. This is who they are. This is what they want. And if you think it's all politics, if you think, well, this lives in a bubble and I hate it, and obviously those people are ridiculous and not all Democrats think that way, I would tend to agree. Not all Democrats think this way. I'm trying to make the point here that the absurd conclusions drawn look, if you're going to call Donald Trump and all of his supporters racists and xenophobes, et cetera, if you're going to say that Donald Trump has ushered in Jim Crow Part 2, you need some solid proof that the man's done it. Black unemployment's on an all-time low, okay? There's no empirical proof. What they've done is they've written a narrative that they now believe. It's a false narrative. They created a story, and now they actually believe it. And now they're in the streets protesting the government's work against child sex trafficking. I cannot wrap my head around the absurdity of where we are. However, you have to consider things like this. The YMCA, which is a very annoying place to be a member, if you've ever been a member of the Y, as my wife and I and our family has been for many, many years. No more, by the way, for the reasons you're about to hear. It's a very annoying place to be a member, okay? But all that aside, I believed that the Young Men's Christian Association existed to serve the impoverished, to make a difference in our community, to do good. Not quite the case anymore. From the desk of the president, Kevin Washington, this is a message from YMCA of the USA president, Kevin Washington. You can read it at ymca.net. It's also on our Facebook page at facebook.com/feltrecoilshow. At the local and national levels, the Y is working towards solutions. He's talking about the separation of families when parents commit crimes and come across our southern border illegally. The Y is working towards solutions, says old Kevin Washington here. As an example, the YMCA, with its deep experience in immigrant integration and refugee resettlement in Greater Houston, is offering legal services to parents who have been arrested at the border as part of its ongoing efforts to reach and serve these families. So let's run through the scenario. In Portland, the hippies are crying and burning bras because the torture of children is being inhibited by ICE. And so they're saying, abolish ICE. My neighbor is not illegal. There's no such thing as an illegal person. And by the way, this crap argument, this straw man that they've propped up, just agree with it. Just agree with it. If somebody gets to you and says, how dare you say illegal? No one is illegal. Say, okay. But people do illegal things, right? Yes, they do, but no one is illegal. Okay, fine. So let's talk about the behavior. Sure, all right. So breaking federal law, should we be against that? Coming across the southern border illegal? It's such a stupid straw man argument. To act as if, well, the conservatives believe people should be illegal. It should be illegal to be a human. No, we believe that you shouldn't be smuggling drugs and children across the southern border. So it brings us back to the main point here. So here's what happens. Most likely, parents can either pay thousands of dollars to get themselves and their families across the borders, or if they're super poor, they can just trade their children. And so they trade their child to a coyote who is going to bring that child across the border and sell that child into a sex trafficking ring. Happens all the time. This is a terrible, terrible thing that happens all the time. So the coyote and the child are caught at the border. Neither of them have identification on them. And now the coyote says, this is my nephew, or this is my son, or this is my daughter. And the YMCA is down there, and the YMCA says, hey, you can't prove otherwise. You can't prove otherwise. How dare you separate these two? Now, granted, there is a likelihood this child could be a victim, but we don't care. We're the YMCA. A bunch of gay men sang a song about us and made us famous, and so now here we are, and we're going to say that we will provide free legal counsel and legal services to this man who just got caught smuggling a child across the border because it makes us feel good. We don't have to stop and think about anything. It just feels good to say, hey, I'm going to help you because I am a decent human being. And you're played the fool, and you don't even know it. That's how stupid Kevin Washington is. It is absolutely mind-boggling that these people breathe the same air as you and I. I don't think they deserve to. I think the world is a better place without them, quite frankly. But it is phenomenal to me that they get away with behaving the way they behave. Who is Kevin Washington, the president of the YMCA, to say that federal immigration laws should be defied to the extent that we will give free legal counsel and services to people arrested coming across the border, simply because they claim that's their child? These people don't have proof they're related to the children. Why is anyone believing them? The only reason is because they are foolish. They are imbecilic. They are mentally retarded. Which is an insult, by the way, to people who actually are. There's no excuse for this kind of behavior. They know better. It is showboating. The reason I'm so adamantly opposed to spending my money with places like the YMCA is because they're using your money to do things like this. Your $75, $80 a month, whatever you're paying, this is how they spend it. And we cannot let that happen. Me canceling my family membership probably won't shut down the Eastside YMCA here in the upstate. Probably not going to happen. It will go on without me. But if everybody would follow suit, if everybody would do their part, if everybody would think to themselves, hey, wait a second. These people are wholeheartedly, and not even trying to hide it, they're celebrating the fact that they are assisting people who are bringing drugs into the country, who are trafficking children at the southern border. I don't understand it. I truly don't. So for the left, the new campaign slogan for the left is allow them to do what they want to do, even if what they want to do is rape little children and buy and sell them like cattle. Unbelievable. And listen, I'm not making it up. You heard the audio. You can find the story. It is a real thing. These young kids, misguided, foolish, arrogant. Stop believing what people tell you when they're fundraising off of you. It's a funny thing that this week at work, we posted a picture of Yeti products and said, hey, we have Yeti on sale. And since it's a gun shop where I work, everybody wanted to be mad because Yeti doesn't support the NRA. What's the proof for Yeti not supporting the NRA? Well, the NRA said so. Even though Yeti changed the terms for all their vendors, not just the NRA, but the NRA took it personally, and the NRA said to their people, hey, I remember how we were infringing on your Second Amendment rights just a bit ago, and you were all mad about that. Okay, that's water under the bridge. Let's talk Yeti. And so everybody starts beating up, saying, oh, I can't believe you have Yeti. You need to get Yeti off the shelf. Why would you have Yeti? Yeah, I support companies that support the gun community. The NRA doesn't support the gun community. And if you think the same people don't believe that, you should see when we posted that we were supporting the NRA. Then anytime you bought a product, you could round up and donate that change to the NRA. And everyone told us, you're traitors because you support the NRA. Those same people are the ones who just aren't slowing down long enough to consider the fact that the people who are telling you that something is true are in the same breath asking you for your money. Sign up. Go to the RNC's website. Go to the DNC's website. Go to the NRA's website. Go wherever you want to go. Sign up to receive their emails and watch how often they tell you that the only thing that will save the cause du jour is if you'll donate $3 today. Wikipedia does it. The NRA does it. The DNC sure as heck does it almost every day. Legitimately every other week at least. And they say, oh, we can't fight back unless you donate $3 today. We've got an end-of-month deadline. It is all a ruse. Do not be played for a fool. Slow down. Think for yourself. Don't hop into the street with your roommates because you see cops next door and go, our neighbor deserves a chance. You know who deserves a chance? The kid chained to the bedpost in the basement. That's the person that deserves the chance. Your neighbor deserves a noose around the neck and to be strung from a tree so everybody can watch the body swing for a few days. And then they'll go, what happened there? Oh, well, then I won't do that. That's a bad idea. This isn't Southeast Asia. You can't traffic kids and have the government turn a blind eye. They'll string you up. Okay, well, I won't do that. That's what we need in this country. We need less useful idiots. Stop being used. So, the moronic left is now legitimately campaigning on a platform of abolishing the organization that is out there working to end sex trafficking in the United States. I can't wrap my head around it, except that they hate us. They hate America, and they're willing to sacrifice our children to bring it down. Whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. If children being trafficked for sex is the price of an open border, it sure as heck seems that the left is okay with that. How anybody can come to a conclusion other than that, I'm very curious to hear. But that's what they want. It starts with taking a knee. A simple act of defiance that says they hate the country because the country is racist. Oh, you don't think the country's racist? Look, they separate families at the border. Yeah, okay, a couple of kids, maybe not actually with a relative. Okay, maybe 10 kids. Okay, maybe 100. All right, maybe like 1,000 kids got smuggled in for sex trafficking purposes. But take the knee and agree that this is a racist country. Here's a guy, by the way, who's white and 37 and has a decent job and is on fire about the fact that young Hispanic children are being trafficked into this country and largely brutalized by men who look just like him, trafficked by women who may resemble his own mother. Okay? We all have a bit of guilt in this. We have guilt if we turn a blind eye. We're sure as heck guilty if we're out there advocating for it by advocating for the abolition of the agency looking to stop it. But Americans are partaking in this to a degree that should shame us all. It should motivate all of us to give every extra dollar we have to those who will go out and stop it. I'm going to tell you, there's not a lot of things that would make me pack my family and move. But if an organization like OUR or somebody on a mission like that said, come and help us, you better believe it. We'd get up and go. Because I couldn't explain to my kids, we're going to leave the life we have and you won't see your grandparents anymore so that I can be on the radio in Nowhereville, Minnesota, which was the realistic example in my life. So when my wife and I got married, job prospects weren't that good for me because I was in radio, and radio is a terrible business for keeping a job. I had a boss, I was telling the story today, I had a boss take me to lunch one time and say, your future here is done because you've worked here too long. That's kind of a summation of what I was told. But he said, you're not gonna bring in new listeners. Okay, everybody already knows your voice, so you're not gonna move up at all. You need to find somewhere else to go. So I got a new job and I left, and that's a guy I would never work for again. Because I think it's a crummy move, but I digress. The point is, I quickly became dispassionate, maybe is a word. If it's not, I just made it up and I'll use it, of working in radio. And so when the idea was, okay, well, the radio station in southern Georgia is shutting down, they fired me, subsequently fired everyone else and shuttered the place and sold it. So what do we do? Well, do we go to Minnesota? No. I'm not going to live in a miserable place thousands of miles from anyone I know so that dad can, scrape together a living. So I said, well, let's hit reset and let's go raise a family around our family. And I know this is just a huge rabbit trail, but my point is there was no cause there. There's nothing that's making a difference. There was no real chance to affect change in any of that. And so I couldn't very well tomorrow say to my kids, I have an opportunity to do this. and feel great about it. Maybe if a great opportunity came along. But I'm happy where I'm at. I'm happy doing what I'm doing. I love what I do. So I'm not out there advocating for a job. My point is it would take something of this magnitude, somebody that would allow me to directly influence and change this new form of slavery. That would be awesome to me. That's a cause to get behind. That is something to do with your life. That's an amazing thing. And I tell you that because I believe it's guys that look like me that are a big part of the reason. Believe it or not, the female side of this is massive too. A lot of female traffickers, a lot of women in their middle years out there trafficking children because they're unexpected. Okay? You would think it's, quite frankly, I think if we admitted it, we would imagine it probably would be a Hispanic man trafficking children. And certainly they are bringing them across the southern border, but it's also women. It's also women. We all share a bit of guilt. But some of us, myself and many people I know, are fighting back against it. And no matter what motivates you to do that, I think it's a great thing. But now the left is openly embracing fighting against the organization looking to stop it. I don't know how you get away with that. There was a poll last week that was something like 35 to, I saw a couple of different numbers, but it's somewhere around 35 to 50% of Americans think we'll see another civil war. I hate to tell you this, it's already here. It's already here. It's the Trump supporters and Antifa. It's the guy throwing the coke on the kid and calling him the N-word. Okay? Well, racism, the arrogance, the bigotry, it's there. And people are literally fighting each other in the streets over it. And we have to be very, very careful with the way we handle ourselves. I'm telling you, it's going to take one guy, one girl, whomever. All right? The shots are going to be fired. And then all hell is going to break loose. And what are you going to do? I'm not going to pick a side. Because quite frankly, I'm not in the mood to be out in the streets punching Antifa in the face as much as I'd like to. I'd rather peacefully raise a family and have internet arguments with people. Because honest to God, that's what America is. It is supposed to be that you live in peace and you raise your family the way you please, and then you have spirited debate, but you walk away knowing your fellow countrymen. And nobody's looking to fundamentally undermine what the country stands for. But we are reaching a fever pitch, if not already beyond it, with the fact that the left is now fighting to abolish an organization that is breaking up child sex trafficking rings around this country. I'm at a loss for that. I can't wrap my brain around how anyone could be so stupid, just so utterly stupid and useless as a human being. I despise, as much as you can despise anyone, I despise those people in that video. I just do. All right. Check it out, facebook.com/feltrecoil show. You can see the actual news story and feel your blood pressure rise as well. From Jihad Watch, by the way, this is an article from Robert Spencer, and it just shows you, by the way, speaking of not being willing or able to think things through, Facebook flags the Declaration of Independence as hate speech. From the Washington Times. In the week of America's Independence Day, the algorithms of Facebook decided that the Declaration was hate speech. The Liberty County Vindicator, a community newspaper between Houston and Beaumont, had been posting the whole Declaration in small daily chunks for 9 days on its Facebook page in the run-up to July 4th. But the 10th excerpt was not posted Monday as scheduled, and the paper said it received an automated notice saying the post, quote, goes against our standards on hate speech. The offending passage? It was part of the document's Bill of Particulars against Britain's King George III. It said, quote, he has excited domestic insurrections among us and has endeavored to bring on the inhabitants of our frontiers, the merciless Indian savages, whose known rule of warfare is an undistinguished destruction of all ages, sexes, and conditions. What they're saying there, if that's too hard to comprehend, is that the Indians would kill indiscriminately. Man, woman, and child, they did not care. They were some blood-thirsty nomadic warriors. And they got beat at their own game, and everybody's mad at it. but I digress. In an article, the paper replied about the rejection, quote, perhaps had Thomas Jefferson written it as, quote, Native Americans at a challenging stage of cultural development, that would have been better. Unfortunately, Jefferson, like most British colonists of his day, did not hold an entirely friendly view of Native Americans. Okay, our VOTA of the week, by the way, are the kids, the kids in Portland there protesting ICE. But I want to do a quick hero of the week, and kind of one of these things where I'm not going to overly critique this lady, but can we please use this as a reference of things not to do? Although it ended well, she gave every chance to this man to do much, much more harm to her and her children. This is out of Dallas, Texas, from Fox4News.com. A woman shot a man who she says took her car at a southern Dallas gas station Wednesday night. Michelle Booker Hicks told Fox 4 it happened around 10 p.m. as she was paying for her gas at a Shell station along Interstate 35 near Camp Wisdom Road. Booker Hicks saw a man get into the car with her 2- and 4-year-old sons in the back seat. So problem number one, a man was able to easily enter her vehicle that she had left her kids in the back seat of. Okay. Terrible oversight, but here's what happens. So she jumped back into it, grabbed her gun from the glove box, which is very lucky she was able to get it because I'd have to assume a struggle ensued, and then she shot the man in the face. I proceeded to jump in my back seat, she says, and told the gentleman to stop. I like that she calls him a gentleman. To get out of the car. He would not. He turned around and looked at me. I reached over the armrest to get my glove compartment, and that's when I fired at him once. I got the gun from my glove compartment. The carjacker ran the car off the road, crashed into a fence. He was arrested and taken to the hospital for treatment. Police identified the suspect as 36-year-old Ricky Wright. He was shot in the face just under his right eye, causing him to crash and later collapse in the middle of the street. Booker Hicks and her kids were not hurt. That's where the article, I'm going to leave the article. It doesn't stop there, but that's where I'm going to leave it. Could have been very, very, very bad. Very bad. Do not give a bad guy a chance to be between you and your firearm. Do not do that, okay? If a firearm is in the glove compartment and now you're stuck in the back seat with your kids, I'm not going to tell you not to go for it, but that is a risk you better very well calculate tediously before taking, because if that guy overpowers you, now he has a gun pointed at you and your 2 children. Just be very, very, very careful. Glad she's safe. I'm glad it went the way it went. I do not fault her because that's Monday morning quarterbacking and that's not the right thing to do. But I do urge us all to read the story, think about how she did what she did, and maybe see if we can say, here's a way to have possibly done that better. All right, Felt Recoil Podcast will return next week for episode number 84. In the meantime, you can find us online, feltrecoilshow.com, facebook.com/feltrecoilshow. We'll see you next time.